Watch what's approaching, the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
What's good? So this is one of those units that have been put on the back burner for a long time for whatever reason that is, but this is one of those units I personally do like. I mean, it's a pretty old unit, and the fact that it awakens from, starting point of an SR unit into honestly a TUR at 120, max level, it's actually pretty impressive if you think about it. So, let's go ahead and kind of cover the stats, and we'll see how this unit does in today's age of Dokkan. He's actually not too bad, honestly. So again, this is the full power Bojack, extreme strength type. Does start off with the SR unit, obviously, like I said. But leader skill strength type, Ki +2, attack and defense, increase of 50%. Super attack, keep in mind, is extreme damage to enemy and greatly lowers defense. So the attack stats and output you're seeing is based on an extreme damage multiplier, which is actually quite impressive if you think about it. Now the passive skill is actually pretty decent for this unit. Attack increase of 90% when performing a super attack. So 90% is actually more than enough, I think, in terms of like what to expect from this unit, you know what I mean? In terms of links, obviously he's got the Hera clan, that's +2 Ki. Galactic warriors is attack increase of 20%. Big bad bosses, attack and defense increase of 25% when HP is 80% or below. Thirst for Conquest is attack increase of 15%. Coward is +1 Ki. Wall standing tall is attack increase of 15%. And Shattering the limit is +2 Ki. Looks to be 5 categories for this unit: Resurrected Warriors, Movie Bosses, Full Power, Time Travelers, and Conquest of Terror. At 100% potential, you're looking at HP levels of 11,145, attack is 11,160, and defense is 6,913. 12 Ki Multiplier is 133%. So again, extreme damage, multiplier, and then starts off as an SR unit. It's actually quite impressive if you think about it that way, you know what I mean? And another thing I want to note is I actually love the UR state of the card art. I remember back in the early days of Dokkan Battle, whenever I first started playing, right? And I remember seeing this guy, and once I found out he awakened, I was like, man, this guy looks badass as shit. I gotta get this guy to a UR state, you know what I mean? So that was one of those, good memories from the early days of when I started playing. It's been quite some time. Actually, let me look it up. So this came out around, this is the TUR state came out on April 1st, 2017. The original version for the UR state was June 19th of 2015 is when it hit JP. So yeah, it's been over 4 years now, I guess, if you think about it. That's quite crazy. It's crazy to think about it that way, considering how many years have actually passed for Dokkan Battle, It just, I don't know, the early years, I mean, it just kind of went by pretty fast. It's almost like a blur now, but this is one of those units I do have a lot of, I wouldn't say fond memories, but I definitely do have some vivid memories behind, the early days of when I started playing. So yeah, it's pretty cool actually, seeing an old unit and testing it out, see how the unit does, and quite honestly, he's doing pretty well. Now, given you are seeing rotations where there is a support unit like Kid Buu and Turles and whoever, and in some cases you'll see a double support type rotation, but even with that in mind, I mean, even with that kind of support he's getting, you got to remember it's extreme damage multiplier, and he's a 2015 unit. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like if you think about it from that perspective, he's actually quite good. So me personally, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty impressed, honestly, with the overall performance of this unit. And again, considering how old this unit is, still has a decent level of viability, I think, on teams. I mean, full power Bojack links pretty well with most of the units, especially on all the categories. Like, the brand new Conquest of Terror is obviously the newest one, but full power movie bosses, resurrected warriors, and time travelers. I think personally, if I were to run him on a regular basis, it would probably be either Conquest of Terror or movie bosses, I think. I mean, I'm a little bit biased though because I love the movie boss category, but yeah, if I were to run this guy on a regular basis, I think it'd be More biased toward those two categories than anything. I'm sure he does fine on the other three, but I think from a personal standpoint, thinking about all the available units, I would probably end up picking, if not a Conquest of Terror, I'd be going with the movie boss setting. Just because of the overall synergy of the units you can bring on the team and how this unit would do with the rest of the guys. I mean, in terms of like links, he's really not bad. I mean, obviously there's certain links that are pretty much tailored to the other Bojack type units like Hera Clan and Galactic Warriors, but everything else like Big Bad Bosses, Thirst for Conquest, Coward, and those are pretty common stuff. And I'm actually looking at the UR state, so let me go back to the TUR state. And it's pretty much the same, but of course Shattering the Limit is added in, and Shattering the Limit is also, a very good link skill to have because there's quite a few units on the following categories that do have that link skill, and I'm pretty much specifically talking about the Intelligence Metacooler unit. Phenomenal support on these types of category teams, and with the EZA, he's actually very good. So, that unit also does have Shattering the Limit along with a key boosting passive for allies, along with attack and defense. So, there's a bunch of ways where you can run this guy on a variety of settings. And like I said, this is one of those unit showcases that just continue to sit on the back burner for whatever the reason that was. It's not like I was purposely delaying this or prolonging it, whatever you want to call it, but I don't know what happened. I think it's just, getting caught up in the mix, you know what I mean? Like just all the stuff that continues to drop and just kind of having to come back to it eventually. And I'm glad I did. This unit's very good. I mean, back to the point about just the back burner and delays. I mean, it just seems like Dokkan Battle is just, they're picking up the pace like year over year. You know what I mean? Like every year, even like every quarter in a way. Things are just getting crazier and crazier in terms of like the amount of banners and amount of new units, especially with the Extreme Z Awakenings and also the Extreme Z areas for certain units to be Extreme Z Awakened. I mean, it's just the amount of like new units being introduced or improved. It's quite crazy. The schedule gets a little bit crazy sometimes. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you, but in all sense, I mean, it's a good thing. I'm glad they're revisiting older units and making them viable again. I mean, you know me. You know how I feel about older units. You know what I mean? Like, I love seeing older units brought back into life and becoming somewhat useful again. Now, they're not going to be like the top tier units in the game, of course, but the fact that there's a little bit more functionality behind them after the EZA, it makes things a lot more enjoyable. I mean, we obviously know what happened with the Extreme Z Awakening for Trohan, and you know how I feel about that. So, let me just put it to you that way. And it's gonna be interesting running some variations of teams with the Trohan unit. I'll put it to you that way. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But back to the Bojack unit. I mean, very solid for such an old unit. And even the TUR, Dokkan Awaken, happened, in 2017. And if you think about it, that's well over, 2.5 years ago now. I mean, last time I checked, so let me read it again. So it came out on JP April 1st of 2017. So it's been 2.5 years since this guy got a Dokkan Awaken. So the fact that it's, still 2.5 years old, still doing pretty well. Yeah, I would say it's impressive, especially considering he started off as an SR unit. And I mean, again, this guy kind of holds a special place in my time playing Dokkan Battle, just because of how badass he looked when I first started playing. Like probably like a month or two playing. I don't remember the exact month that I started playing, but I remember like a month or two afterwards. I saw this guy available as a Dokkan Awaken. I was like, look at how badass he looked. I was pretty much like, I gotta get this unit awakened. And back then it was actually pretty rare to get a lot of UR units starting off a deck. There wasn't, I didn't re-roll. Like whatever I started with, I stuck with. You know what I mean? So I could have re-rolled with much better odds of SSRs starting off, but you know, I started off and just kind of continued playing, and I'm kind of glad I did, because certain units I have as the oldest SSRs, and they hold a special place in my memory, you know what I mean? So I know I'm kind of going down a trip down memory lane with this, but it's an older unit, so what do you expect, right? I mean, but I guess back to the original point, this guy, yeah, I mean, again, for such an old unit and starting off as an SR unit, and Dokkan Awaken had, you know, last happened 2.5 years ago, and tested out in today's, you know, current, you know, types of events. Yeah, I think this guy's pretty impressive for what he is. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and found this helpful. I'm sure you haven't seen this unit showcased in quite a while. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.